What up, YouTube? I am your host, Mediocre tutorials and reviews, back in here with one more video. Guys, you already know what time it is. It's time to get active. You're already looking at the thumbnail and the name of this video. Now, before we get into this video, let me give a quick couple of caveats. Guys, I like to go over information like this, and I think that you find it valuable as well, in order to dive deep and to critically think about the things, the images, the resources that hit our eyes every day, as well as with the opposite sex, in order to amalgamate all the information together in order to understand the culture as it is today. Whether we like it or not, a major component of the culture is the exchange for goods and services that are attached to the innards of women for money. The video here today, my experience as a sugar baby. What I want to go into this content here today is with an open mind, in order to understand and peel back the onion of why of someone who is a beautiful woman would decide to do that early enough. I mean, I think at a surface level, it's of course for money, but I like to understand the deep-seated reason as to why people do that, because you could have two different women and that look exactly the same upbringing. One decides to go into it and the other one says, no, I'm gonna go this other route. So I want to be able to understand. Now, I will also say I skimmed the very intro of this video, and she very clearly states and articulates that she does not advocate for women to go on the path that she did, okay? But let's get in there. I think that this is gonna be interesting to dissect. Without further ado.
So Larry and I started talking, inboxing each other, and at the time I had Google Voice, so I gave them my Google Voice number. So then we started texting and stuff. Very nice guy. He was an old white guy, not really my cup of tea. He was about 65, which now I'm looking back, that's like, ooh. But before I'm like, I don't care because I'm finna make this money. I told him one time, like, I needed to get a bus pass, y'all. Long story, I didn't have a car. And the bus pass was like $90, and he sent me the money for that. He was just so sweet. And he just told me like, okay, soon you're gonna get a car, but I gotta see you. So he wanted me to fly to where he was, which I did not feel comfortable with because I didn't know he was like a serial killer, and I watched too many scary movies. So I told him, hey, do you mind coming to the A? He was like, yeah, I could come. Just that easy. About a week later, he flew down.
Atlanta. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Years ago, I had ambitions of living in Atlanta. Especially, I heard is at least a 10-to-1 male to female ratio. Female to male ratio, I said that incorrectly. But Atlanta. Lifestyles like this is components of the reason why I was like, I'm okay staying out of Black Hollywood. There's too many fakers down there. Let's move on.
And I was so nervous, y'all. But I just knew in the back of my head, like, I could finally buy a car, y'all. I was so sick of the bus. So he told me that he was coming that Saturday. I went to the mall to buy some clothes. So I went shopping because I'm like, I'm about to get my money back anyway. We still hadn't come up with an arrangement yet, but I knew that it was going to be decent because he was sending me money already. So I went shopping, got some cute clothes because he said he wanted to go out to dinner and here and there. He flew down and we went to the aquarium. We went out to dinner. But let me tell you about my first initial, like, meeting him in person. Tall man, white with, like, wrinkly fingers, cigarette breath. But you could tell he was rich from what he had on, right? Kiana, you already got that car. You just need the money to get it, but you already got it. So just keep it together. It's okay that he has cigarette breath. Just do you. Get this car, girl. I know you're tired of that bus, okay? And we had a great day. But then he was like, do you want to come back to my room? Now, we still hadn't even discussed the arrangement yet. So I just bring it up. I'm like, okay, but how much do you plan on paying me? And he was like, well, how much do you want?
Okay, let's just take a quick pause. So it sounds as what the hypothesis was is that the reason is really solely and truly tied to money. She sounded like she was in her very early 20s. Sounded like she keeps on talking about a car. So it sounded like she needed money for a car. Went up on this website, seeking arrangements or what have you. found some dude. She didn't want to go down to where he lived, so told him to come to Atlanta. But it sounds like it's uniquely money driven. That's what I'm picking up here. So I didn't find anything new, but let's keep on going.
So me being 18,
18.
I'm like, I need at least $100 a week. And he burst out laughing. He was like, I'm not going to give you $100 a week. And I'm like, so how much were you planning on giving me?
That's hilarious. $100 a week. This is every hold up, let me talk to you real quick. This is every father's nightmare. Every father's nightmare. When it gets real. Oh my gosh. Oh God.
I even had sex for a double cheeseburger with bacon.
Last year, I lost my virginity at the lake. Since then, I've slept with 10 guys.
Every father's nightmare. Everyone. Every last one. That you do not do your due diligence. Where they hit from 17 to 18, shit, even before 18, but they get to 18 and they meet some friend in their life, or maybe on their own fruition, and they go out to a site on a seeking an arrangement to be used for money. Whew. This shit goes deep. Anyway, let's get back into the reaction.
This man said, I want to give you $1,500 for every time we meet. $1,500? So immediately I'm feeling like rich as hell. Nobody can tell me nothing. I'm like, let's go to the hotel room. Let's pop some bottles. You know what I'm saying? So we get into the hotel room and I'm just taking shots because I'm celebrating because I'm rich now. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to be making $1,500 per meet, and he wanted to meet like at least once a week.
Damn.
Balling, you know what I'm saying? I think I'm all that now. He said,
I'm not gonna lie, 18 years old, that is a lot of money. But, you know, you can get blinded by the money until them gnarled fingers places their hands up on you, you know? Short-term gratification over delayed, long-term, and true fulfilled living. That's what I keep hearing, but let's keep going.
sitting on the couch because he's pretty much drunk and I am too. But I go out on the balcony because I'm just like, oh my God, I'm rich. As I'm like, you know, taking in the Atlanta air, I feel some wrinkly fingers come behind me.
Oh, there it is.
I forgot I gotta give him the sugar. You know, I'm like, oh shit. He was just like, what you wanna do? And I was like, not you, but if I have to, because you did say 1,500. Like, I already bought my car, y'all. Y'all gotta understand. I already bought my car. So I'm like, I mean, whatever you wanna do. You know what I'm saying? Because I know I'm gonna have to give you some sugar. That's $1,500. Like, so I'm trying to just talk myself into it. Because I'm like, Kiki, you was doing it for free, for love, and you was riding the bus. So now you about to get a car. You might as well go ahead and, like, you know, pop that thing. I finally talked myself into it, and he, like, takes my hand and takes me to the bedroom. So I'm like, okay, Kiki. Immediately, I was sober. I done took, like, 7 shots, and it's gone. Like, my high just left out my body. He was like, okay, go ahead and get undressed. And I'm just like, wow, Key, you really are desperate as hell. But do you, girl? Because you finna be whipping. I'm, like, taking off my clothes, and I'm still, like, right by the door. The door's still open. So he's like, shut the door. And as I'm shutting the door, I see a bottle of Bacardi. So I'm like, oh, let me drink it. I just want to black out. I want to forget all about this. I want to pretend that it never happened because I'm going to be sick once I do this. So I get into bed with him and I'm like, what would you like me to do? And he's just like,
you know what I keep thinking about? I'm going to let the story go on here for a second. You know what I keep thinking about? You know, when I think about the whole idea of black women, certain black women being mad at certain black men with this whole mantra of protecting black women. And, you know, I look at videos like this and I'm trying to listen to her story in the way that she's picking it and piecing it together. And if you heard in the beginning, and I don't even know if I even played that part, but what she said is that she had a female family member direct her towards the site. Okay. And I say that to say there was no male intervention to help direct her mind within this avenue to go on and down this path. And to a degree, you know, she didn't talk about her father or anyone, any male figures that were in her life, but someone raised her, male or female, someone raised her, right? So we could talk at a general level and perspective about this whole protect. But if you take it down to a specific level and look at some of these specific instances where the protection could have been done by both male and female, and what we see here to a degree is someone who was 18 years old that managed to fall through the cracks, but was pushed into the crevice by another woman who probably was doing the exact same thing because she felt comfortable enough to push her down that avenue. And that's what I just keep thinking as she's going through this cringeworthy story, but I want to hear it conclude.
Like, give me a minute, I need to pop a pill, the blue pill. So we're
Viagra?
waiting and waiting and waiting. Out of nowhere, he just starts like, oh, ow, ooh. And I'm like, do I need to call 911? He's just like, nah, like this Viagra messes with my heart. Just get your $1,500 off the dresser.
He almost died?
Okay, so I try to act like I'm disappointed. I'm like, well, maybe another time. You know, I was so happy. I didn't have to do anything. So I go to the dresser and I pick up those beautiful blue faces. I'm like, oh. You know what I'm saying? So the end. That's all that happened. I didn't even have to give up no sugar to my sugar daddy. That's a blessing, okay?
All right. Just real quick. Apparently, she has some tips that she's getting ready to talk about. I don't even know if I'm gonna go into the tips. So you heard the motivation. You heard the story. You see the happiness with getting $1,500. Mind you, a car doesn't cost $1,500. It's probably gonna cost a lot more than that. So this is an arrangement. The man damn near had a heart attack taking a little blue pill. There's a lot much more money for you that you might be leaving out on the table if you do not do future hotel visits. So if I was to guess, although the first time was not you exchanging your guts for money, there will be subsequent times where it will not turn out like that, because it seems as though she was ready on the first night to have sex with this dude that she just met on this website for money, which to me is prostitution. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. She was willing to utilize her insides to get this car that she keeps exclaiming about for the short-term gratification that a female friend pushed her into, did not protect her, did not give her additional information to do something with. But that was the ending. That was the ending. Now let me also talk about this as well. If you look at the video in itself, it's over 300,000 views. It has 11,000 likes and 300 dislikes. As entertaining of a story that it was, things like this can still be used in terms of propaganda to get women to sign up. As I look at this babying, the sugar babying, I just see it as an exchange. I see you have a buyer, okay, that wants to buy your time, all right? And you have a seller that wants to sell their viscosity or their insides. You have two people in the market. One has money, the other has the good, okay? And then they come and they seek an arrangement. Now, I don't hate on or fault anybody in the particular dynamic. However, I think that there is a discussion to be had when you have a grown, super grown dude, all right? And you have an 18-year-old, very young, impressionable girl. I understand that they are an adult, but I think back to myself and trying to make adult decisions at 18 years old without the proper guidance. I would have led myself down a windy road. I would have had multiple forks and multiple pretzels within that road in order to get to an outcome. And it would have probably made me exceedingly bitter having to go through all of that within the process. But really, I think a lot of the backlash that a lot of these people get is still men coming to grips and terms with the idea that women can remove emotions from sex, sometimes damn near better than dudes. And I think like there's a lot of dudes that still trying to come up to the realization of that being a fact, that being true, as such as what it is perpetuated in society and the way that we speak about it in these sectors. And I think that when you see it here at such a visceral level, when there's no remorse, like, yeah, there is ladies, I'm not telling you to do that, but let's face it, she's telling a story, she's smiling about it, she's laughing about it. Every time she brings up the $1,500, she's like, I'm about to get this money. You know what I'm saying? And to a young woman that is very impressionable, can disconnect emotions from sex, or maybe even not. Maybe is considering trying to disconnect that because of the ultimate money that she might be able to make. It might look at a video like this and think that it's something that she should do. Now, I'm not going to go into the tips that she's actually going to go over, so I'll leave a link down in the description box down below if you want to go check out the tips and what she is exclaiming that women that are interested in this, what they should be doing. But I think that it's important to go through content like this in order to understand the decision-making processes of those who seek to do this. Last thing that I wanted to touch on is I really wish that there was a way to do numbers or studies on how many women sign up to do this shit, because you have no idea if you are interacting with a young lady that has the decision-making capabilities of this one right here. You never know. Shit, I've met women in corporate America that have OnlyFans type accounts, legitimately. And it was super surprising. Now, it wasn't something that they were doing at that particular time, but it's something that they did in the past. And my immediate idea is there is no way that that I would ever take you seriously in a relationship if those were the morals and the values that you had at that particular time. But I can do that because I know my own morals and values and whatever I send it to within my masculinity, but I can be picky within that. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that people don't have the opportunity to evolve into something greater, but I do the picking and the choosing. And you must be responsible for your particular actions. But then I ask the dudes, what due diligence are you doing to understand the particular actions? Which is why I'm so keen on the red flags and the key indicators, because those are inherently important. All right, guys, that's all I'm going to go over in this video here today. Again, I'll leave a link down to the content creator in the description box down below. Over 300,000 views on this video. Crazy like to dislike ratio. This is 2021. This is what we live in today. So we have to have these discussions. We have to go in on these topics. I think that it's important because the first step into figuring out a solution is to identify the challenge and or the opportunity and or the problem. At the time that you are able to do that, that is the first step to then go on and form a solution. You understand? All right, guys, questions, comments, concerns, you already know what to do. Mediocre tutorials and reviews at gmail.com. I appreciate you guys wholeheartedly for continuing to talk about the channel, to pump the channel, to share the channel. Let's continue with these dope discussions. You understand what I'm saying? Until next time, YouTube. Peace!